I'm not sure Steve's going to make it. He's going to try, but he's dealing with frozen pipe issues. A nice, pleasant way to start Monday. There was a power outage in our area. There was 17,000 people that didn't have power for several hours last night, and the pipes froze. A mess.
Oh,
I know. That's winter for you, right? We're going to get through it, though.
I must come here for a holiday when it's open again.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
When COVID's
Right.
gone.
Let me get the doc up there and shared. I know we have one. There we go. All right, putting it in the chat. Well, let me get it set up for today. Today is (2/15/21). I don't know why I'm bolding my name. All right. All right, so go ahead and add your name to the list here. Top of the discussions today have to do with our blogathon, our badging program, and our how we're gamifying the badges. We have made some progress on it. I am going to pass this over to Garima to really go through her kind of her work that she's done on building out the levels that we should be working at. But let me just give you an update on the blogathon. We have one blog, mine. I've encouraged some of you to write some blogs, so I suspect we'll get some blogs later in the week or in the month. We did go through a nice, let me just share my screen. Kanban board. So we are starting to track kind of non-coding related activities on Trello. My blog went through the full process, so we had folks edit it. Once it was edited, I went ahead and published it, and then I marked it as done. I also added a newsletter, a summary of what we did for in the month of January, and that can be found out on the under the blogs under news. So if you want to social post that, it gives some interesting stuff to post. Sergio is working on our badges for our badging program. Everybody loved the Evil Lord. He's done some modifications to it, but you can see what it's looking like right here. I think we'll just have to figure out a place to put the different levels if this is the one we used, but I think all of us kind of like this badge. It's got a very sci-fi look to it, it just sticks with our theme. And he's got two others that he's working on. So that is where we are really in a nutshell, in summary of what we've done over the course of the last 2 weeks, which I think is quite a bit, to be honest. And I am going to pass it off to Garima, because today's focus really is to work on her program for building out different I guess I call them ladders, how you improve in the program and how we would set it up. So Garima, I am going to turn it over to you.
yeah, thank you very much, Tracy. And I would like to actually share my screen. Let's see how it goes. Can you see my screen?
We can, beautifully.
Okay, so this is regarding the recognition program, and I and Tracy have had a few discussions on this. Of course, this we are bringing on the table today because we need your input and your contributions to this. This is not perfect off the bat. We have just started the ideation around the program, and we have brought forward some of the key like strategic thinking why a recognition program is required. So let's start with that, right? So why a recognition program is required, and I tried to kind of summarize it into two parts. The first part is um, it's essential for building Ortelius, right? So what it offers to Ortelius as an organization, as an open source community. The second part is why this recognition program would be important for enabling people, because without people will not be able to accomplish anything. So we started to jot down some ideas around how we saw these opportunities building up for Ortelius. Obviously, it goes without saying we need to increase focused contributors to this open source community. Also, continuously creating features, demonstrating to the public that the project has contributors, demonstrate that the community ownership of the project is there, and thought leadership, like incubating ideas, creating new exclusive features which can integrate into Ortelius. And lastly, raising money. That was not a big concern at this point in time, but we also have pointed this out. So me and Tracy actually brainstormed a little bit before presenting it to the community. I would like to take your feedback on this. Do you guys think that these are the key things which Ortelius would be looking forward from a recognition program, or is there anything else which we have missed out? I would love to have your views on this because I will add it going along. Anything specific anybody has in mind?
And I've already answered these questions, so the rest of you are on the hook.
Yeah, we have put stars where Tracy believes that these questions, whatever these considerations are important, and the stars you can see, thought leadership is extremely important as per Tracy, and then increased focus contribution, and subsequently demonstrating to public that the project has contributors.
I'm good.
Okay, good. So if I take silence as nobody has anything now to say.
I think it looks good. Jeez. Wow. Looks
Good.
great.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, when I look
Yeah.
at the health of an open source project, I mean, that's the first thing I look at, how many contributors there are, you know, how often commits are made, that kind of thing.
Great. So I think we have alignment on that part. I would also like to highlight enabling people, because at the end of the day, if it does not work for people, whatever we do as a recognition program would not fly. So from a people's point of view, open source is still complicated. So improving skills to contribute and maintain is one of the first priorities when people come to these kind of communities to contribute. I also see that all contributors are not only coders, and we have like established this through various other initiatives, which you can see in the Trello. But I think we have consensus in, at least in this group, that we will need more than only coders to contribute to this recognition program. Also, mentorship. People are looking for mentorship, building public artifacts to grow reputation. Like some of us come to open source community because of the opportunity it provides us to grow our reputation. It's also empowering, to be part of such an initiative, which is creating future for all of us, right? Continuing to learn and grow and feeling the ownership, which is, I think, one of the extremely important point, that once you feel the ownership that you're kind of developing something which you own, it gives extreme, I would say, association engagement to do this. And lastly, diversity. I think it's high on Tracy's agenda, and I think we need to have more contributions from diverse community players, outlining a few of them being women contributors, and young contributors, contributors from various geographies, and so on and so forth. Anything which stands out for you guys, anything which we have missed? Because this is the baseline. Whatever we do after this would be like practical execution steps. Okay. You can still give me feedback after this talk. So let's proceed. What the next step we did was we have tried to outline the types of contributors. So of course, contribute to source code is one of the top items on the agenda. And contribute as content providers, like writing blogs, writing content, white papers. Contribute as a meetup or webinar organizer. This is extremely important when we go to the context of globalizing this, and making it more engaging. Contribute to improve knowledge base. I think this is also a very important critical point, because without documentation, tutorials, we'll not be able to move forward to consolidate a common global vocabulary which we want to build around this Ortelius program, right? And then contribute as trainer or speaker, contribute as driving programs, like recognition program, and contribute towards the governance. I think governance aspect is really important. When you start to kind of build a critical mass, you will see that it will be essential moving forward. And lastly, contribute as market outreach, like being an evangelist, uh, you know, mm, building influencers. Any feedback on this before we move forward?
In this category, would people who are working on like a community manager, would they fit in the governance category? I'm assuming.
I believe so.
Okay.
But we should be actually, what we can do is we can explicitly mention that as well. Okay. Any other thing?
I think it looks good. Yeah, I think all of these are very important roles.
Okay, so let's move forward one step. I'll not spend more time on this, because what we will be doing is that creating a recognition program also needs to tie up with some key matrices. How will you measure the contribution is extremely important. So we have not come to this conclusion because we are still building up this. But I really want to present the next slide today, which was basically based on the contributor types, which we have shown you. We have outlined 3 types of contributors. The first type of contributor would be aligned to, let's say, the first stage. And I would say that contributing monthly to the source code, or participating to Ortelius webinars, collaborating for contributions, reporting monthly contributions would be some of the responsibilities which this person would have. The benefits these people will get is, PR badges, and badges in this category will have multiple badges, right? So it's not like this will be only one badge. So we will create multiple badges in this category itself. So PR badges, chance to participate in trainings and workshops, gifts and reward coupons, swags, and drive participation, hackathons, and similar events, right? So this is like stage 1 of contributions, where you are kind of, trying to get more engagement and more focus from contributors. The The second type of contributors, I would say, is stage two, where people are already committed and they want to kind of take a bigger leadership role or bigger engagement, which is more commitment. So now you will have like this category would be like an ambassador category, where you will have at least one mentor contributor in this. That means whosoever is part of this category would be mentoring someone in the stage one, driving at least one workshop or one webinar. So it's like leading the show from the front. And benefits these people can get is they can get trainings from Ortelius, drive meetup communities, featured blogs on Ortelius, right, to create Ortelius communities in their own localized environment, and early access to features. Of course, if we give this benefit to this category of people, it comes with a lot of responsibility. So they'll have to have a specific code of conduct, which needs to, be in place. And I believe that it is, but we'll have to be more explicit around all these responsibilities which are listed here. And this can be like also extrapolated once I get feedback. The third category would be the Ortelius evangelist category, which will be like the key responsibilities would be help setting up governance, organizing one webinar quarterly, incubating at least one idea, mentoring at least one ambassador. So it's another kind of leadership space where people get an opportunity to own these ideas and to kind of craft a different kind of value towards Ortelius. Benefits these people can get is represent Ortelius in conferences, drive customer presentations, opportunities to part of technical oversight committees, and whatever other opportunities you'll have. So this is like the first thinking around how we would build the recognition program. So what we would be doing as a next step, we'll actually have to outline the responsibilities properly and the benefits properly, because if we don't have that, then the program itself will not have appropriate structure. So the next steps for me would be, I will create sub stages in this whole three categories, and then try to kind of steer this from a more documentation perspective. What I would like to have is, does it make sense to you guys to categorize these three types of contributors? Because there are differences in the kind of contributions they are doing, and there will be differences in how will you measure these contributions.
So these are stage one, stage two, stage three. Is there so you would progress through these stages, correct?
I was thinking about that. Like, there are two things which we should be careful in calling it a ladder, because once you call it a ladder, it becomes a corporate kind of a thing, which people I think they're transitioning from that, right? So we'll have to name it properly. Stage one, stage two, stage three is just for reference. I
Okay,
would say,
but it is that is the progression. So you're moving to go from a contributor to an evangelist?
that is a natural progression, right? But there might be some cases that people just want to remain at stage one. They don't want to be an evangelist. They love and are passionate to contribute to open source, and that's what they will do. So
So what I'm thinking within each of these, there could be progressions within it. So, as a contributor, you're going to get recognition for lower level steps. Even a first pull request or a first blog or something of that sort gives you at a step within each of those.
Excellent. Yeah, that was my idea, that
Okay.
each of these categories will have certain differentiating steps or stages.
Okay.
So I think we have not settled on the vocabulary yet.
Right.
So what do we call it?
Yeah.
But the idea is there are three categories of let's say contributions, and we each of these contributors are having a different persona type, I would say, and different kind of drive to contribute.
Yes. No, I that's why I was asking, because we could, one group could be contributors that have their own progression. Another group could be from, more of an outreach perspective, what I would call now enthusiasts and working to become an evangelist. The ambassadors could be, anybody who wants to work on the governance side. So within each one, and then maybe we have one that's an aggregate. We call it legendary or something, where somebody has participated in all of them, and
Legends.
they get a legendary badge.
I love that. Legends.
They're a legend. Because we do have people who are really, playing multiple roles, which I think is awesome. And if they get a certain amount of recognition in each of those stages or each of those silos or categories, they should get recognized for it.
Yeah. So the whole idea is that it's okay to stay in one category. It is also okay to move in categories across, and we will have another stage or step, which is legends, basically, who are the people who have contributed to all these types, contribution types. So that's actually excellent. I think. Before we over engineer this, because this will be like if we don't do it properly, it will be a lot of work, and the impact will be less.
Yeah, what I'd like to do is start with it simple, and as we grow, we can add,
Yes.
different badges within each of those categories.
Yeah, I would like to start only with like two badges, and
Yeah.
then we can extrapolate it. So in every type of contribution, you just have two badges, like starter, or and then there is a like a more mature badge. I don't know what how should we word it so that it becomes motivating, not demotivating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it becomes a blocker. So we have to be very careful what we name or what we call it. And like Ortelius ambassadors, it can be like founding ambassadors, and then you have other ambassadors. So we'll see how we can name it. And there where I think I will need your inputs.
Okay. Well, I think that we should go to the next step and just take this to a shared doc,
Mhm.
so everybody could start making comments on it and think about
Mhm.
it. I think that then we
I
can.
have a I have a view. The view that I have is if we maintain these categories, it will become cumbersome to manage at certain point of time in future. Point one. Uh, Point two is in some way or the other, everyone is sort of ambassador to the community, whether they contribute through code, whether they contribute to non-piece of code, whether they help in spreading the word, whether they help in adoption of this. Uh, so my thought is, if we can keep one category as Ortelius ambassador or whatever you name it, and then probably help the badging process or subcategorizations under it. For example, uh, if we keep an Ortelius ambassador and say anyone who posts I'm just taking a hypothetical example. Anyone who contributes, let's say, 10 articles, they would get one badge. Anyone who checks in the code, let's say 20 times or adoption of this, they would get X batch or Y or Z batch. In that case, managing them post the implementation of this recognition program would be an easier one. Again, my thought, I'm happy to
Yeah.
be challenged on it.
Yeah, and I think Siddharth, you have a point here. And what we were thinking about it, there are two aspects of this conversation which you're highlighting. The first aspect is the concept of categorization itself. The second aspect is how to measure the contributions. So we are completely in saying that how should we measure the contributions needs to be more clear, more specific, and we need to do more work on that. Like whatever you have, like the ideas, we had some ideas in the previous slide which I have not shown you, but this definitely we have to work on. So I will reach out to you, Siddharth, for your input on that part, how to measure. Now the first part is the contributor types. Now this was also a concern which we had, and we actually discussed this point. Either we keep all the contributors in one bucket and just kind of introduce badges. That can be a possibility. Or we do this like what I have shown you. So I can actually do another slide where we can only look at like how the scenario would look like if we just create one category, and whatever looks good, we can
I
see.
say we move it to a shared doc so we all can
Yeah,
start yeah, like making comments. So Siddharth
sure.
can capture that so I can read it again and go, oh, okay. That's
Sure. So if Siddharth, you can add one slide to this, and this will be scenario one, and whatever you are referring to will be scenario two, and then we can open it for voting. Whatever would look good, we can proceed with that. Make sense?
Yep. Yeah, and I really think that right now with there's kind of two. Could you go back to the personas,
Which
or
ones?
I'm sorry, the contributor types,
Yeah.
the previous page?
Yeah, I'm sharing.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm wondering if some of these contribute to the source code. Yeah, I think that we have them. We have them. I wonder if we can identify these. So when I look at this, I think I'm trying to match it up to say if we had two different kinds of programs, one for people who are really focused on the code and the other who is most focused on the outreach. I think we need to I think we need to work on the the contributors who work on the code. Because I could be at an architecture level as well, that they actually didn't write any code, but they're writing specs, but that's still contributing to the source code. So if you could just take these two pages and put them in a shared doc, and so everybody can think about it and maybe make some modifications, and then in 2 weeks we can
Right.
dig through it again.
Yeah, and I would love to have a reflection on, start thinking about what impact you want to create. Because once you are kind of thinking around the roles and the contributions, we the whole intent of the program can get lost. So start thinking about what is the impact which you want to create. An impact would be here in this first slide, and then try to relate to that impact and how whatever the scenario you're building up, how that impact will be realized. So then we will be having more clear discussions around how we can build this program. I will share this document. This was the first elementary cut which we had done, and we do not want it to go far without community feedback, right? So that's why we haven't done a lot of work around it. But in 2 weeks time, I will also process some more information. I will put it on the shared folder, Tracy, and I'm looking forward for all the contributions. If you have any other scenario which makes sense, just don't hesitate to put it there.
Yeah, and if you've been in one before and once she gets the shared doc out there, there was something that you really liked, just add it as a note, or just put a paragraph down there that says, hey, think about this, just so we can capture your thoughts. It doesn't have to be pretty.
Yeah. Okay, I stop sharing then.
Okay, it is 30 minutes and we try to stick with 30 minutes. The only other, so just so you can see how that would. So I played with this. You can see my screen. You're looking at Badger. Okay. So I played with this over the weekend. You can create issuers. It's pretty simple. It's free. We don't have to pay anything for it. There is an upgrade that makes it much more interesting, but it has ways to incorporate what we just talked about. But basically, there are issuers, and you have an issuer, and an issuer can award a badge, and you have to upload the image of the badge and say what they did it, why they got it. I logged in as both a creator and an issuer, and it sent me an email that said, here, do you want to add this? Here's your badge. And then the more badges you get, you can put them in your backpack so you can track what badges you have. So this is from both a end user perspective and the issuer perspective. And so for right now, I think that we can work on that. There is a way to create what they call pathways, but I didn't get that far into the product. I just looked to see if I could issue a badge, and if somebody who got the badge issued could share that badge on their social networking posts. So for now, I think we have a platform that we can get started on. I don't know if this will take us, how far it will take us, but at least we can issue one badge at a time, and they will manage the badge as a platform to be the kind of the platform where it's authentic. Instead of somebody just putting a badge out there of their own, you can go back to Badger and see if that person really had a badge, because it's going to come from Badger. So whatever we do, we'll have those 2 badges, and we'll have to track this. And this is something that the community managers like Siddharth and Neetu and Parajat will be working on. They'll be the issuers and start tracking the badges. And maybe someday we'll get more. I looked at things that interface with WordPress, but they were too specific to building up badges around activities around the website, and I stayed away from that because Owen, as soon as he gets out of jury duty and gets his head back into it, is almost done with a new framework for the website, and it will not be in WordPress. So I stayed away from that. Not only that, I'm trying to get the CD Foundation to do a badging program for all their open source and their own ambassadors, which means that maybe we'll be able to issue badges under the CDF umbrella, which is where it should be. So for now, we'll use this Badger program.
Yeah, I actually ran across this one as well. This is one of the ones I was looking at.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Like I can create an issuer right here. That means, you know, more than I have to be doing it. I should be able to.
Do they have a Git Destroyer badge?
Do they have a what?
The destroyer badge.
They will. We will.
Okay.
We'll have the destroyer badge because we can upload any images. We'll have the evil Lord badge as well, which is the one we all want. I think the evil Lord's going to be the legendary one. But we can potentially work on these pathways so that the badges are added to the backpack today, so you can see what badges you might want to move forward on. I haven't really looked at this. I was just worried about having issuers and having the ability to, let me see if I sign out here. Let me see if I sign in as my other ID. So here's I just used this as a sample badge. My level was enthusiast that I achieved. So I can see the badge that I was awarded. So it provides a platform for the user to see what the badge was issued for. And then you can share it to your, I don't see it here, but when you get the email, it says, where do you want to share it? Right here. Here we go. So you can share it to any of these sites just from this platform, which is perfect and all we need for now. I didn't actually try it because I wasn't going to put a fake badge on my social pages, but it looks like it works. I'm going to assume that step does work. So this would be from the community's perspective. I don't know what that is.
That looks cool, man.
Yeah, it gives us a way to start tracking them and start exposing them and having a fun way for us as contributors to track our backpacks and see where we're at.
Yeah, it'd be nice if the CDF would be able to adopt this as well.
Or something of their own. They already pay for all their Linux Foundation has a whole badging system with one of the big ones. I can't think of its name.
Well, when I
But
was on a meeting with the Linux Foundation on the tools front, they were talking about badging the projects to see and give them a ranking on how secure they were. So it was badging around the projects that they were doing in like the Git repos and not around individuals.
right, and I think that's that I think with the Linux Foundation, I've gotten badges for speaking at KubeCon from CNCF, so they do that. And I think the CDF is thinking about being able to give a badge for people who speak at CDCon. But I'm trying to get them to build a better reward system overall because they're trying to build a pretty large ambassador program so they can reach out to end users and get feedback from end users. And that program will need some kind of a badging program, and they may as well allow their projects to use it too. That's just the way I see it. They probably see it differently, but we'll find out. I think that they're going to have someone take over, create a chairperson position for the ambassadors, and whoever's on that chair position probably can start talking about building a rewards program or a recognition program for their ambassadors. And maybe we can jump on that. But right now, this will do fine.
But I think this is step in right direction. Whatever Garima presented, whatever you are presenting, I think it is completely step in right direction for this community. How it goes is a different thing, but yes,
Yeah, there may,
fully support.
when we go to issue badges, Siddharth and Neetu might be busy, they might cause them some busy because you have to do them one at a time, but that's okay. We're not at a point where we're doing a training class for 10 people and then want to give everybody a badge and you have to create 10 at a time. But I think it is, I would agree. I think it's the right direction. It gets us going. Okay, on that, any other thoughts? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up and give everybody the rest of their day back, or afternoon, or evening.
The only thing I have
Evening.
is just for everybody to review. I put together and sent it out on Discord the link to a new Google Doc around the service catalog database fields and what I'm thinking on that front. So if you guys could please review that, make comments, change it up. Just look in the Discord. I'll see if I can find the link again. But I'm going to be also working on the GitOps one and starting to create issues. So we'll start seeing a bunch of issues created, and we'll start needing to get people working on those. So we're going to have a push here soon, just a heads up.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Stay warm.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.